Good morning. This is our C programming lesson. During our previous lesson, we were discussing control structures in C programming, where we said control structures dictates how programs are executed in any C program. And we mentioned that we have three main types of control structures: a sequence, selection, and looping. Sequence programs are executed based on the order of listing. All the programs are supposed to be executed. Selection, you'll have to make a decision where we have three types: single selection, double, and multiple. Single is only one condition. If the condition is true, some statements will be executed. And if the condition is false, no outcome is given. The program will be terminated. Then double selection, we said that if the condition is true, the if part is executed. And if the condition is false, the else section will be executed. Multiple selection, that's what we'll discuss today. That's why we have several conditions to be tested. And in C programming, multiple selection is implemented using if, else if, or switch case statements. So that's what I want us to discuss together. So let me share the screen. Multiple selection in C. Multiple selection in C. So as I had mentioned, this is where we have several conditions to be tested.
Amazing video.
Okay, mute. Let's mute our speaker, our audio, so that we concentrate. Multiple selection, where we have several conditions to be tested. And if the condition is true, the statement associated with that condition will be executed. So the first form of multiple selection in C programming is if, else if statement. Here we'll have if condition, that's where we'll start our condition. We'll have to test if that part will be false, the next else if will be executed. If the next statement also is false, or the next condition, the else part or the else section at the end will be executed. So check the syntax there. If else statement, we have if, Boolean expression there means a condition. If that condition is true, then expression one will be executed. The codes that are here will be executed. If that condition is false, it will test the else part again, the else if. It will test that section. If it is true, it will execute this. And I want us to know this: if this section is executed, it will ignore all the others and jump to the end of that code. That's why we call it multiple selection or decision making. But if it is false, also this section, it will test the next part, the next else if. So it continues like that until the end of your application. If the first condition is false, the second is false, the third is false, here it will execute what is in the else part. So that is what I want us to note. The flow chart is there. We'll have start condition one. If the first condition is true, here we have yes or true, it will execute statement one. And you can see after executing statement one, our flow chart is going all the way up to the end. Statement below if, you can have system pause or return 0. So it will ignore all the other statement. If condition one is false, it will test condition two. If it is true, execute statement two and terminate our application. If condition 2 is false, condition 3. If condition 3 is false, it will execute the else part. So note that in C programming, multiple selection, where we have if else syntax, if all the conditions happens to be false, it will execute the else body. So our first example there, a C program to check if a number is negative, 0, or positive. So allow me to explain this. We have the header file, then the main function. You declare variables. I say these are comments in C. So I only have one variable int num. Then another comment there, input value from the user, enter value, scanf. If that value is less than 0, it means it is negative. Else if, you can see this is our first condition. If it is true, it will execute what is here. If it is false, it will test the next part. Num is equals to 0. If it is true, execute what is here. If it is false, execute the else part. Meaning, if a value is not less than 0, it's not 0, automatically that value is greater than 0 and it is positive. So let us execute this together. So I'll copy paste. Then I open the compiler. That's our compiler. I paste the source code there. These are comments. I said we have multiple comments and single comments in C programming. So I compile and run. You save your code, your source code. We'll call it 1.c. So I compile. Want to see if there is any error. This is called debugging. If there is any error warning, they will be displayed down there. There is no any error. Execute, compile, and run. So let me share the output window. You see also. That's the output window. Enter any number. So if I enter -5, so the outcome is the number is negative. Why? Because it satisfies our first condition. That value is less than 0. It will output the number is negative. Now let's go back to the portal. We have example 2. That's our example 2. A C program to input 2 integers and check if the values are the same. If they are the same, or displays the maximum between the two. So we have the header file, the main function, the two variables, val1 and val2. Input the first value. This is a format specified because it is an integer. Then you store in a memory called val1, what is here. Input value 2, then it is an integer. You store in a memory called val2. We said C is case sensitive. So if value 1 is not equals to value 2, this means not equals, exclamation equals 2. The outcome will be value 1 is not equals to value 2. Else, if this is another condition, value 1 is greater than value 2, the outcome will be value 1 is greater than value 2. That's our condition 2. Condition 3, if value 2 is greater than value 1, the outcome will be value 2 is greater than value 2. Else will only be executed if this is false, meaning value 1 is not equals to value 2. If that is false, it will test this. If this is false again, it will test this. If that is false, it means the two values are equal. The two values are equal. So that's okay to do with if-else statement. And the key concept here that I want us to note is, if all the conditions within your applications are false, else if statement in C programming executes else part. So next, let's have a switch case in C programming. So we are done with else if. So let's have a switch case programming in C programming. So switch case programming in C. I want us to know this. This is an alternative to else if, to if else if statement, where you have several conditions to test. Check the syntax here. You'll start with the condition or the expression. If your expression here will match with case value 1 here, expression 1 matches with case value 1, block 1 will be executed. Block 1 is the same as statement 1. And if it executes this part, it will break the application, meaning no other statement within the switch case will be executed. But if the expression will not match with case 1, it will test case value 2. If case 2 will not again match with expression, it will test case value n. You can have 1, 2, 3 all the way to n. n meaning the final value or based on the condition that you want to set. If the expression is not matching with any case here, it will execute the default part. Note this, where we had else, if, where we had if, else, if all the conditions are false, the else part at the end was executed. But for switch case, the default section will be executed. You know that. That's the main difference. For switch case, if all the conditions are false, it executes the default part. That's a summary of what I've said. And you note this, any case condition, you have to terminate with a semicolon and you put break after each case value. The flowchart for switch case, allows start switch case condition one. If the expression will match with case condition one, the statement one will be executed. Then you terminate with break. Each statement you terminate with break. If condition one is false, it will test condition two. If condition one is true, this part means true, true and false. The other side is false, here true. If this is true, it will execute statement two, then you terminate with break. After you have executed statement two, you can see our application is terminating at the end, meaning no other condition here will be tested. If our condition two will not match our conditional expression, it will test all of them. You can see we have condition n, meaning your last condition within that application. If that happens to be true, it will execute statement n associated with that condition. Then it will break. After it breaks, you can see it is terminating our application. Note this, if all the conditions are false, condition one will not match with the expression, condition two, and even your last condition, the default part. You can see false, false, false. If all these conditions are false, the default part will be executed and the default statement will be given. And at the end, your application will be closed, meaning it will come to an end. So let's have this first example. A C program to test if a value initialized by the user matches with the condition that is there. So here we have a header function, main function. We have initialized value as 8. So switch num. This is now a condition. You can see int num what we have initialized, switch condition. Num here, so this is switch body, the part I've highlighted. So if this case 7, if this matches with what is here, num, it will display value is 7. If it matches with case 8, it will display the next statement. If it will match with 9, it will display this statement. Default, meaning if it will not match with case, that case, another case there, and another case there. If it is not matching with any, we'll have the default part out of range. So let me copy paste this. I open the compiler. That's our compiler. I've just pasted the code. In fact, allow me to edit this part so that we enter a value instead of putting a value there direct. So we say int num. We prompt the user to input print function, enter any value. We prompt the user to enter. So we'll have scan function, scanf, %d. It must be in quotes. Then you put a comma, ampersand num, meaning the variable that you want to access. Then we test here num. So I'll execute, compile and run. So let me share the output window. You see. That's the output window. Enter any value. Enter any value. So if I enter 7, enter. You can see that the value is 7. The value is 7. Why is 7? Let's go back to the source code. The reason why we're getting 7, we here enter any value, I've entered 7. So we are testing here switch num. case 7. If that value is 7, you will have this output. The value is 7. So let me compile again. I enter a value that is not here. Case we only have 7, 8, and 9. I enter a different value so that you see how the default part will be executed. So execute, compile, and run. Let me share the output window. It is there. Enter any value. I enter 12. So you can see the output out of range. Why? The value that I've entered is not matching with any case. It's not matching with any case. So let's go back to the source code. You see here the default out of range. I had entered 12 and it's not matching with case 7. It's not matching with case 8. It's not matching with case 9. That's how we'll be implementing multiple selection in C programming. Now let's have an example. I want us to check a question from a past paper. Question number F. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, F. In an athletic competition, athletes were awarded money based on the ranking as shown below. Rank 1, 2, 3. This is 1 million. The one is 500,000. Number 3, 250. Any other 0. Write a C program that would accept the rank. The program should then determine the award through the use of if statement. So that's what we're supposed to write together. You enter the rank. If the rank is 1, this person supposed to get 1M. If the rank is 2, 500 or half M. Number 3, 250. Any other 0. So let's write this code together. I believe we have seen the question clearly and we have understood. So let's write to, although here they have said we use if else statement, if else, if statement. Automatically here you have to apply if else because these are several conditions. We'll use if else and we use switch case together. So let me open the compiler. That's our compiler. So we start with the header file, hash includes stdio.h. Then main function. So prompt the user to enter int rank, that will be our variable. So printf enter rank. Then scan function, scanf %d, %d because it is an integer. If it is float, if the data type here is float, use %f. Then ampersand rank, meaning the memory that you want to refer, or where do you want to store that one. Now we use our variable to test our conditions. The first condition is if rank is equals to 1. That's our first condition. If that is true, we'll say print function, printf, amount allocated equals to Kenya shillings 1M. That's the amount given. Can use /n to start a new line, although that is optional. Let me copy paste this, just edit. The next condition was rank number 2. Rank 2, amount allocated will be 5 half M, 500,000. Then the other one was number 3. Else if amount allocated was 250. Then we'll have else. Else will be executed if all the other conditions are false. We'll say not in the range. Not in the range. Last time I say these two statements are optional. You can have system pause. They are optional. No one can penalize you for not adding them in your application. And return 0. So let me compile and run. Include spelling. Now we are checking errors. If rank, that's our condition. If rank equals to, or you're supposed to have 2 equal sign, not multiple. So we don't have any error. If rank equals to, if we enter 1, we'll have 1M, 2 have M, 3 to 50,000. Now let me share the output window. You see how the code is executing. Is there? Enter rank. So if I enter number 3, amount allocated is 250. So that is how we use else if statement. Let me change that code. We use switch case. Switch case. We'll go back to the source code. Check the source code clearly. You see where I will change. So I'll scanf, enter rank. So I'll have switch rank. Now we are using switch statement. There. So we'll have case 1. We put a full colon. Printf amount allocated is there. Then you put break. He said every statement you terminate with break. So I'll copy paste this. The other one will be case 2. Case 2 will have 500,000. Then lastly we have case 3. Case 3 will have 250. Then here we will not have else. I said we'll have default. Meaning if all the other conditions are false, the default part will be executed. So let me compile and run. No error, no warning. You can see down there, no errors and no warning. So let's see the output window. Is there? Enter rank. So assuming I don't want to enter 1, 2, or 3, so that our condition, all the other conditions will be false. Let me enter 6. The output is not in the range, meaning the default part is executed. And we say the default is executed if your switch expression is not matching with any case. And that is here. If you check the source code, default printf not in the range. If the value that will enter is not matching with case 1, it's also not matching with case 2, and not matching with case 3, the default part will be executed. So that is what I wanted us to discuss today. Anyone with a question? Are we okay? Winnie Mwangi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Lisa and Melanie? Anyone with a question? Okay. If no question, we'll stop there for today. And I'll still share this video. You can, access your portal, and you'll find this video and audio, and also the summary of this content that I've shared today. So have a nice day.
You too.